The Three-Body Problem by Cixin Liu. The Defiant Professor. In the bustling courtyard of the university, a crowd had gathered, their voices rising in a tumultuous chorus. At the center stood Professor Zetai, his face calm yet resolute, as he faced the sea of red guards before him. His wife Shaolin was among the accusers, her expression torn between loyalty and the fear of the times. Professor Yi, one of the red guards, bellowed, "You stand accused of spreading reactionary science, of corrupting the minds of the youth with your capitalist teachings." Zetai adjusted his glasses, his voice steady as he replied, "Science does not serve political ideologies. The theory of relativity and the Big Bang are not Western conspiracies. They are the keys to understanding our universe." A murmur rippled through the crowd. Shaolin stepped forward, her voice barely above a whisper. "Please, think of our family. Denounce these theories, and this will all end." But Zetai's stance was unwavering. "I cannot betray the truth, not even for peace at home. Our daughter Wenji must grow up knowing her father stood for what is right." The red guards closed in, their faces contorted with anger. "Then you leave us no choice," they declared as they began the public shaming, forcing a heavy iron hat upon his head, a symbol of his so-called crimes. From the edge of the crowd, young Wenji watched, her heart heavy with a growing disillusionment. The father she admired for his brilliance was now the target of scorn and betrayal. This moment would forever change the course of her life, setting her on a path filled with shadows and secrets, where the line between right and wrong blurred in the name of survival and science. The defiance of Professor Zetai would echo through the years, a testament to the courage of one man against the tide of an era. The Imprisoned Daughter. The cold, damp cell was a far cry from the vibrant university halls where Yi Wenji once roamed. The walls, stripped of warmth and color, echoed with the faint cries of others who had fallen out of favor during the Cultural Revolution. Yi sat on the hard bench, her mind replaying the events that led to her imprisonment. "Yi Wenji, you stand accused of harboring counter-revolutionary thoughts," the company commander had declared, his voice devoid of the respect he once showed her father, the esteemed Professor Zetai. "I have done nothing but seek truth through science," he replied, her voice steady despite the tremor in her heart. Her resolve was tested further when Cheng Liwa, a military representative, entered her cell with a document in hand. "This is your chance, Wenji. Sign this as a witness and we can overlook your misunderstandings," Cheng offered, her tone suggesting a sliver of sympathy. He glanced at the paper, recognizing her sister Wenshui's handwriting detailing their father's alleged crimes. "I cannot sign this. These are not my words, nor my beliefs," she said firmly, pushing the document away. Cheng's facade of kindness melted away as she signaled to an officer, who doused Yi with icy water. Shivering, Yi's spirit didn't falter. "You may try to break me, but I will not betray my father's memory," she whispered, more to herself than to her tormentors. As the days turned into weeks, the isolation weighed heavily on Yi. When the door to her cell opened once more, it wasn't the expected interrogator, but a figure of authority from the outside world. Director Zhang, a high-ranking official known for his stern demeanor and strategic mind, stood before her. "You are to be transferred to the Red Coast Base," he announced. The Red Coast Base, a top-secret military research facility, was developing advanced communication technologies that could change the course of warfare. "Your expertise in environmental science has been deemed essential for a critical defense project we are undertaking," Zhang explained. "What do you want from me?" Yi asked, her voice echoing in the empty cell. "We require your scientific acumen to navigate the complexities of our project," Zhang replied, his statement clear and devoid of unnecessary flattery. As Yi followed Zhang out of the prison, she felt the gravity of the situation. No longer just the imprisoned daughter of a disgraced professor. She was now a scientist recruited for her unique skills, embarking on a journey where the stakes were as high as national defense. The path ahead was fraught with challenges, but Yuwenji was resolute in her pursuit of truth and her contribution to a cause greater than herself. The transition from prisoner to participant in a pivotal defense initiative marked the beginning of a new chapter in her life. The countdown crisis. Wang Miao sat in his darkened living room, the only light coming from the glow of his digital camera's display. He rubbed his eyes, hoping it was just fatigue, but the relentless countdown persisted. His wife, asleep on the couch, mumbled in her dreams, a sign of the anxiety that had seeped into their home. Wang felt a pang of guilt. His obsession was affecting her too. Maybe it's just stress, he muttered to himself. Maybe I'm working too hard. The next morning, after a restless night, Wang arrived at the Nanotechnology Research Center. As he entered the main reaction chamber, the hum of machinery and the sterile scent of the lab surrounded him. Dr. Wang, is everything all right? Chief Engineer Chang asked, concern etched on his face. Wang shook his head. I need to stop the experiment. But the progress we've made... It's not safe, Wang interrupted, his voice barely above a whisper. I can't explain it, but we have to shut it down. Chief Engineer Zhang nodded, though confusion clouded his eyes. He didn't understand Wang's sudden change of heart. That night, Wang lay awake, searching for answers. In desperation, he called Shen Yufei. Shen, please, Wang pleaded. Tell me what this means. There was a pause, and then her voice cool and detached. You're not ready to know. Frustration boiled within him, but before he could respond, she hung up. Days passed, and Wang's fear grew with each passing moment. Then an unexpected encounter changed everything. Dr. Wang, Captain Shi Qiang's gruff voice cut through the fog of Wang's thoughts. I've been hearing things about you. Strange things. Wang looked up, meeting the captain's piercing gaze. I see numbers, and they won't go away. Shi Qiang leaned in, his expression serious. You're playing the three-body game, aren't you? Wang nodded, surprise. How did you... That game is more than it seems, Shi Qiang said. It's a virtual reality simulation where players experience the chaotic environment of the Trisolaran world. Keep playing. It might hold the answers you're looking for. Wang returned to the game with renewed purpose, his avatar, Copernicus, navigating the chaotic world of the Trisolarans. As he played, the pieces began to fall into place. The Trisolarans, desperate to escape their dying world, had set their sights on Earth, and the warning was clear. With each revelation, Wang's fear gave way to determination. He would face this crisis head-on, armed with the knowledge he had gained. As the final seconds approached, Wang Miao stood ready, the fate of two civilizations resting in the balance. The crisis had begun, but so had the fight for the future. Wang was no longer a victim. He was a key player in the cosmic drama unfolding before him, and he would not back down. The chaotic cosmos. Wang Miao sat transfixed before his computer, the screen's glow casting otherworldly shadows around him. Hours had slipped by unnoticed as he delved into the three-body game, a virtual cosmos plagued by the erratic dance of three suns, their movements dictating the fate of an alien civilization. As the in-game warning of another tri-solar day loomed, a sense of urgency gripped him. The survival of this virtual society hung precariously in the balance. His focus was unwavering, his mind racing for solutions, when the soft sound of footsteps approached. His daughter, Mei, peeked into the room, her presence a stark contrast to the intensity of the game. Dad, Are you still playing that game? You've been at it all day, she remarked, her voice tinged with worry. Turning to face her, Wang Miao's expression softened. This isn't just a game, mate. It's a puzzle with pieces scattered across the universe, he explained, his voice a mix of exasperation and intrigue. Mai settled next to him, her curiosity piqued. And these three suns, their erratic orbits cause all this chaos? She inquired, her eyes fixed on the screen. Exactly, he confirmed. Imagine our world at the mercy of such cosmic caprice. Their conversation was interrupted by a cryptic message on the screen. The flying stars hold the key. Wang Miao pondered the significance of these words. The stars, representing the sun, seemed to be the linchpin to forecasting the planet's tumultuous climate. Mai's eyes lit up with determination. Let's track them like cosmic detectives, she proposed eagerly. And so they embarked on a quest to decipher the patterns of the flying stars, hoping to uncover the rhythm of the chaos. As they charted the celestial paths, Wang Miao couldn't shake the feeling that this game might be more than fiction, a cryptic communication from the depths of space. Their journey through the three-body game became a shared odyssey, a testament to the unyielding human spirit in the quest for knowledge, echoing the very essence of scientific discovery. The Earth Trisolaran conspiracy. In the dimly lit corridors of the Red Coast base, Yuwenji paced back and forth, her mind racing with the weight of her discovery. The walls, lined with screens and equipment, hummed with the energy of 1,000 secrets. She stopped in front of a large monitor displaying the endless expanse of space. The door creaked open, and Wang Miao stepped in, his eyes wide with a mix of fear and curiosity. Yeah, I've heard rumors. They say you've communicated with extraterrestrial beings. Yi turned, her face a canvas of conflict. Yes, Wang, the Trisolarans. In my attempt to find a solution to our problems, I reached out to them, but they have their own agenda. Wang approached, his voice low. What agenda? They see Earth as a new home, a place to conquer, Yi confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. Earlier in the chapter, we learn about Mike Evans, a charismatic yet enigmatic figure who had risen through the ranks of the Earth Trisolaran organization, with his radical ideas of a new world order. His belief in the Trisolarans as harbingers of change had gained him a following among those disillusioned with Earth's status quo. A murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd, but not all were convinced. Pan Han, a young member who had been introduced as a bright but naive idealist, stood up. And what of us, Mike? What happens to humanity? Evans smiled, a cold, unsettling smile. We will be reborn, Pan, as something greater. Back in the control room, Yi and Wang were joined by Dashi, a military man introduced earlier as a skeptic of the ETO's intentions. We can't let this happen, he declared. We must act. Yi nodded, her resolve hardening. I will speak to the members. I will tell them the truth. The trio made their way to the meeting hall, where Evans was still preaching his vision of a new world. Yi stepped forward, her voice cutting through the air. Listen to me. The Trisolarans are not our saviors. They are conquerors. A hush fell over the crowd. Evans laughed. Yea, you've lost your faith. But we haven't. The Adventists will see to it that the Trisolarans' will is done. Dashi stepped forward, his hand resting on his sidearm. This ends now. We're taking back control. The room erupted into chaos, with members of the ETO taking sides. Some rallied behind Yi, while others remained loyal to Evans and his Adventists. In the midst of the turmoil, Pan Han found himself at a crossroads. Having been introduced as someone who joined the ETO seeking a better future, he now saw the darkness at its heart. With a determined look, he sided with Yi, ready to fight for the truth. The chapter closed with the base in disarray, the future uncertain. But one thing was clear. The conspiracy had been exposed and Earth's fate hung in the balance. The battle for humanity's soul had just begun. The alien contact. UNG, alone in the control room of Red Coast Base, initiated the transmission sequence. Her message, a plea for intervention, soared through space. "Come here. I will help you conquer this world. We need your force to intervene." Exhausted, he collapsed outside, unaware of the profound changes that awaited her. In the clinic, she discovered she was pregnant, a beacon of hope in a time of uncertainty. The confrontation with Lei Cixin was inevitable. He had learned of her message, and accusing her of betrayal forced Yi into a corner. In a desperate act to protect her secret and her unborn child, Yi silenced Lei and her husband, Yang whining, ensuring their silence would be eternal. As weeks passed, a response from the Trisolarans arrived, marking the beginning of Earth's first extraterrestrial contact and the founding of the Earth Trisolares organization. This alliance, formed in the shadow of Yi's controversial actions, would profoundly influence the future of humanity and its place in the cosmos. The organization's establishment prompted a cascade of changes, reshaping global policies and the lives of those involved, heralding an era of unprecedented interstellar cooperation and conflict. The philosophical debate. In the grand hall of the Trisolaran leadership, the air was thick with tension. The princeps, a figure of authority and strategy, stood at the center, surrounded by the other leaders. The military consul, a being of war and defense, paced back and forth, while the science consul, the mind behind their technological prowess, adjusted the instruments that displayed Earth's progress. The propaganda consul, tasked with shaping public perception, watched the debate unfold with keen interest. "The humans are advancing too quickly," the princeps declared, his voice echoing through the chamber. "We must contain their scientific progress, or our survival is at risk." "But at what cost?" the military consul interjected. "If we reveal ourselves too soon, Earth might strike back. We must be cautious." The propaganda consul nodded in agreement. "We'll spread the idea that civilizations are often destroyed. It's a natural cycle, and they are no exception." Amidst the debate, a message from Earth arrived, a desperate plea. "Do not answer! Do not answer! Do not answer!" The hall fell silent. The listener from Post 1379, known for their solitary vigil over the radio signals of space, who had once detected Earth's first intelligent transmission, stood with a resolute air. "We cannot sacrifice our morality for survival. Earth deserves to make its own choices," they proclaimed, reminding the Council of their long-standing principle to respect emerging civilizations. The princeps, with a firm resolve reflecting his decisive nature, responded, "We will not intervene. Our observation will continue, but Earth's path will remain unaltered by our hand." With that, the leaders dispersed, each contemplating the new directive that would shape the future interactions between Trisolaris and Earth, as the fate of two civilizations remained intertwined yet distinct. The reflection at Red Coast. UNG stood at the cliff's edge, the setting sun painting the sky with hues of fire and gold. The Red Coast base, now a relic of her fateful decisions, lay quiet behind her. She reflected on the future, the weight of her actions heavy upon her shoulders. A figure approached, a man whose eyes held a strange mix of earthly sorrow and cosmic knowledge. "Dr. Yi," he began, his voice steady, "I understand the gravity of what has transpired here." Yi turned to face him, recognizing an ally in the silent battle that raged beyond the stars. "You are one of us then, a sympathizer?" she asked. He nodded. "I am. But not for the reasons you might think. I believe in the potential of humanity, in our ability to rise above our flaws. Together, They watched the sun dip below the horizon. The Earth Trisolaran organization is no longer a shadowy whisper, he confessed. It's a reality that we must now navigate with care. The man placed a small, delicate flower on the stone tablet, a symbol of resilience and hope. This is for those who dream of a better tomorrow, he said. His heart, though burdened, felt a stir of hope. As darkness embraced the world, she knew that humanity's story was not at its end, but at a precipice of change. With a final glance at the horizon, she turned back, ready to face whatever dawn may bring.